So your IELTS test is coming up soon. You have taken it once before, you got a 7 in your writing test, then you took it again, you got 6.5, took it for a third time maybe, got a 7 again, and you're thinking to yourself, but I have good English. Why does this keep happening to me? I know that I can write, I know that I can speak, I have good vocabulary, my grammar is fine. What's going on? Well, turns out there are two things that you may not be doing, and we'll be talking about that today. Hello guys, my name is Gio. I am an English teacher. I live here in Ireland. I am CELTA certified, and I am here to help you today improve your score on the IELTS test. So without further ado, let's get right into it. So my first tip for you, it is plan your structure before you write. What do I mean by that? Planning your structure means you are going to plan everything that you're going to say first. You're going to organize all your arguments. You're going to organize all your ideas. You're going to put them all together first. And only then you are going to write the actual text. Why do we do this? We do this because our mind works in a kind of a random way. We have a lot of different ideas and they're everywhere, right? So first of all, you need to organize them. You need to make some sense out of them and see them on paper or on the computer if you're taking the computer-based IELTS test. After you organize everything, that is when you are going to take the further steps and actually start writing your test. Okay? So how do you plan the structure of your test, of your task? Well, the first thing that you have to remember is that the structure doesn't need to make much sense. What do I mean by that? Your structure is something for you to see. It's just a way for you to have a mind map, so to speak, and understand where your ideas are coming from. Nobody else is going to see this, so it doesn't need to be perfect. It doesn't need to make a whole lot of sense. You will make sense of that in your own terms. And for that reason, it doesn't need to be grammatically accurate either. Again, nobody's going to read this. It doesn't need to be perfect. This is just for you and for yourself only. This task is usually something that's overlooked. When people are writing test 2 on the IELTS, they tend to be very pressured by time, and they think, well, if I take my time to do all these things, I won't have time to actually write the essay. But that's not true. When you do all this, you're actually saving a lot of time. But for those who need to know how long they should be spending on this, I would say anywhere between 2 to 4 minutes should do it. You shouldn't spend too long on that. And the reason for that is that you do have other things to do later. So this is just the beginning of everything. Okay? So now we're going to be taking a look at how to write the structure of your essay first. Okay? So I have here an example. If you look at the green box over there, we have an example of an essay topic that was given. Many students choose to take a gap year before starting university to travel or gain work experience. Do you think this is a good idea or a waste of time? Right, so the first thing you have to do is answer the question, right? So in my case, I wrote that I think it's a good idea. And I wrote a few reasons why I think that. Okay, so the first reason is the person is still very young. Normally, when you are starting university or when you leave high school or secondary school, you're still very young. You're 17, 18, 19 in some countries. So maybe you'll still need time to grow up psychologically a little bit more, to understand your role in this world, what you want to do, where you want to fit in, right? So there's a lot of different reasons why somebody would choose to take a gap year. And I think all these reasons stem from the fact that the person is still very young. So that's my first reason there. And then I wrote also, it's important because then you have time to learn about yourself. So everything is kind of tied together. And what can you do with this time? Maybe learn a new language, travel, learn new skills. Maybe you can work with your parents, you can work with some family member, you can work with in a local shop. There are so many different things you can try, right? And that will give you an opportunity to learn to deal with your own money, having your own income, and managing your own money, having a routine of work and not a routine of study. So maybe that's the reason that somebody would choose to do that, to take a gap year. And the other reason would be just to relax after so many years at school, right? Because normally we start school at the age of 4 or 5, and then it goes all the way up to the end of your teenage years. So that's a very long time. Maybe some people, they would just like to take a little break before starting another 4 or 5 year undergraduate course. And finally, you just get more time to decide which career path to take, right? So I have here some reasons. I'm not saying these are all the reasons. Surely there are some other ones, but I organize here some of my reasons and things that I could write about, right? But let's say that I'm realizing now, on second thought, talking about learning a new language, that could just sidetrack me, right? I could just start talking about something else and get distracted from the topic, and that would be bad for my assignment. So, I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm going to cross it out. And let's say that I want to start my essay by talking about how you're still very young, but I don't want to talk about the time to learn about yourself straight away. I will then choose to talk about having more time to decide which career path to take, because I think those two things, they go well together. And finally, after that, I'm going to talk about how important it is to relax after so many years at school. And all these things, they are supporting my idea that I think it's a good idea to take a gap year, right? So you can see here that when you're planning the structure, it doesn't need to be perfect, and you're writing everything in very short topics. And that's exactly how it should be, because it should be fast, okay? And it should be something for you to just have some sort of guidance. How you should not do this is like this, for example. Many people may decide to take a gap year after finishing secondary school to learn more about themselves, their motivations, and also make a more informed decision on which career path to take before getting into college. There's nothing wrong with this paragraph. The grammar is okay, the vocabulary is fine, but this is not how you plan the structure of your text. Okay, this is not how you plan the structure of your essay. Because imagine if you have to write a mini paragraph for every idea that you have. You will stay here forever. So this is not how you do it. So remember to keep the sentences very short, very simple. It is just a map for you. Okay? So right before we get to the second tip, if you're enjoying this video, if you like it, please make sure you like, share, subscribe, turn on the notifications. I will be posting videos every week onto this channel, so make sure you check them out, okay? Now, the second tip that I have for you is write a draft, okay? So second tip is write a draft. It follows up right after the first one. So after you finish planning the structure of your text, you're going now to write a draft. So this is not the final version yet, but it's close enough. So try and write as if it was the final version already, okay? And you can still use it as a place to double check if there are issues with grammar and that the essay is coherent. You know, it doesn't matter how good you are at grammar, how good your vocabulary is, things will slip by. We all make mistakes. This is just human nature. But the test is not there to cherish us for being human. It's there to judge us for that. So we'll try to prevent these things as much as we possibly can. And you do that by taking all these steps, because you will be looking at your own production, at your own text once again. And every time you do it, it will be a fresh look into it, and you will have more opportunities to catch any mistakes that you may have written. For example, mixing singular and plural, or a wrong verb tense, a wrong conditional. There is so much room for mistakes, right? So we'll try to catch as many as possible, and writing a draft is a good way to do that. The draft is by far the part of your essay planning that should take the longest, okay? So you should spend anywhere between 15 to 20, 22 minutes. And if you're doing the count there, you are thinking, well, that leaves me with about 15 minutes to write my final essay. This is crazy. I can't even write an essay in 40 minutes like they recommend for task 2. But the reason you can't write it in 40 minutes, once again, let's remember, you can't write it in 40 minutes because you are trying to write the perfect text on the first go, and this is extremely taxing on your head. It's very, very difficult to do. So my advice for you is don't try to do that. Go through all these steps. It might seem a little counterintuitive, but you will find that it will help you so much, and that the quality of what you produce and what you put out there will be so much better and much more on par with what you are able to provide. Okay? So these are my tips for you today. I hope you enjoyed them. I hope that you start practicing that right away and get the habit of writing the structure first and then moving on to the draft and then using your last 10 minutes to write the final version. This is enough time to write a 250 word essay. You have no reason to panic. Everything can be done if you plan everything well enough. Okay? So this is it. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you next time on our next video. Bye!